Number 6. The average of the first and the fourth term of a geometric progression is 140. Given that the first term is 64, determine the sum of the common ratio. This question wasn't clear here. This term I've underlined, the sum of the common ratio is not supposed to be here. So we are supposed to determine the common ratio. What you need to understand first is that the term in a geometric progression is given by nth term is given by ar power n minus 1, where a is the first term, then n is the position we are talking about. So if we are told that we have the average of the first term will use a, and the fourth term of a GP. So for the fourth term, we'll say the fourth term is a r power 4 minus 1, because we are talking about the fourth position. That will be a r cubed. If you look at the question, we are told that their average is 140. That means the first term, then plus the fourth term, ar cubed, divide by 2. For average, if there are two items, you add and divide by 2, the value there is equivalent to 140. At this particular point, we have been told that a is 64. But even before you substitute the 64, you can cross multiply. When you cross multiply here, 140 times 2 will get 280. So we'll have a plus ar cubed is equals to 280. Then substituting 64, we'll have 64, because we are told that the first term is 64. So 64 plus 64 r cubed is equivalent to 280. Then what can you do here? We will factor outside 64. So 64 into 1. If you factor out 64, will be left with 1. R cubed is equals to 280. Then to move further, we divide through by 64. So we'll have 64, 1 plus r cubed is equals to 280. Dividing both sides by 64, that will leave us with 1 plus r cubed on the left hand side. Then on the right hand side, we have 280 all over 64. So we'll have 1 plus r cubed is equals to 280 all over 64. So what you do at this particular point, you collect like terms. So we'll take 1 across the equal sign. So we'll have r cubed being equal to 280 all over 64. Then subtract 1. You can use LCM to take 280 all over 64, then minus 1. If you use LCM or just compute in a calculator, you'll get 3 whole number and 3 all over 8. Changing into an improper fraction, 8 times 3 is 24. Then 24 plus 3, we get that r cubed is 27 all over 8. So to be able to find the common ratio, which is r, we'll find the cube root to both sides. So we'll find r cubed, the cube root of that, then 27 all over 8. Also find the cube root. So you realize that the cube root here will cancel with the cube root will cancel with the cube. This should be cube root. The cube root will cancel with the cube. Then the cube root of 27 is 3, and the cube root of 8 is 2. And therefore here we have our answer is 1.5. I have 3 questions. I want you to follow through and practice. So just pause this video, then attempt these 3 questions. We have number 1, just to practice the very concept, we have number 1, A. It has Roman number 1, where we have the common ratio to be positive 2 or negative 2. Then we have the first term, where we have A, 20 or negative 2. Then the sum of the first 8 terms, 510 or 170. Then we have part B. The common ratio is 1.5. The 8th term is 1093.5. The sum of the infinite series is negative 128. Then the sum of the first 10 terms is 7,253.125. Lastly, we have part C. In a geometric progression, the 4th term exceeds the 5th term by 4, and the sum of these 2 terms is 20. Determine the common ratio. you should get R is 2 all over 3. Then the first term A to be 40.5. Last but not least, sum of the first 7 terms to be 14 and 7 over 8. If you express as a decimal to 4 significant figures, we have 114.4. In case you encounter any challenges, just reach out through the comments and I'll be able to work out for you.